So we are going to keep learning about multiplying to find area, okay? And just a little reminder for you, I'm gonna write this here. When we multiply to find area, we are doing length, or L, you might see it as an L, times width, or W, okay? That's the other way you might see it. Length times width, okay? So with that being said, what is the area of the rectangle? So you need to show your work. So you at least need to write like how you're solving it here. So go ahead and try and solve the area of the rectangle. What do you think? And you can type it to me in the chat when you have an answer. Okay, good. Now remember, I see some of you telling me an answer, but don't forget there is a way you have to label it. I'm gonna underline a little something to help you. Oh, there we go. I see, Ellie. I see you fixed it. Good job. Okay. So some of my friends who I responded to in the chat, or somebody else, does somebody want to tell me how they found the area? Oh, I saw Sophia F's hand first. All right, Sophia F, how'd you find it?
I found it because I used 4 and 2, and 4 times 2 is 8, and I knew that I had to put centimeters because cm stands for centimeters, and because if I didn't, then it would be like 8 square meters or 8 square feet or 8, but I knew it was 8 square centimeters.
Good. So I added that in there. Okay. Now, just in case anybody wanted to see, if you weren't sure, so you could make, 4 groups. Put 2 in each group, right? And then count them to get your 8. Sophia H, did you want to add something?
I also did, but instead I drawed our square with the 4 centimeters and 2 centimeters, and I used that to make a multiplication equation.
Perfect. That worked. Good job. Okay, so 8 is what you get when you do 4 times 2. But like I said, you have to have that square centimeters or centimeters squared. Okay, it's super, super important. So important that if you were taking a test and you just wrote 8, it would be wrong. So that's how important it is. So you got to remember that. Okay. All right, we're going to go to the next page. And Absolutely. There we go. Let's keep going. So we're going to go over a couple different ways that you could find this. Okay. So it says explore different ways to understand multiplying defined area. So same rectangle, right? One thing you could do is you could use square tiles to find the area. Okay. Now what I'm about to show you might be a little confusing. Okay. If it doesn't make sense in your head, I don't want you to stress about it. Okay. It's kind of something that takes practice. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not even the best at it. And I've been doing it a long time. So just keep that in mind. Okay. But there is a way when you have these numbers to draw your own tiles. Okay. It's tricky because you want to do your best to make them equal. So I'm going to show you a little hint. Okay. So we know that the length is 4. Okay. And the best way to draw 4, that would technically be the columns. There's 4 columns, right? And the best way to do that is you're going to actually take one less than 4 and you're going to draw 3 lines. Now here's where it gets tricky. You have to do your best to make them as equal as you can. Okay, that's the part that's tricky for me. So I know I need 3 lines. There we go. Okay. Now I know you might be thinking, but the number's 4. Why am I doing 3? Because when you draw 3 lines, it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay. Then you do the same thing over here. It's a 2, so I'm going to do 1 less. I'm just going to draw 1 line in the middle. Okay. Then that gives us our 2 rows. Okay. Now this one was a little easier. 4 and 2 makes it easier, but sometimes you get bigger numbers and that's where it gets complicated. But basically that's what they did here. Okay. They made our boxes, our square tiles. Then they just counted them. Okay. There's your 8. That's one way you could do it. Okay. Then it says you can use a multiplication equation to find the area. That's the one we're focusing on this week. Okay. You know that the length is 4. So they drew 4 boxes here. You know that the width is 2. So they do 2 going up and down. Then you just multiply like we did. 4 times 2 equals 8. Okay. So now we're going to answer some questions about that. Not much to do on this page. Moving to the next one. Let's answer some questions. So it says, how many 1 centimeter squares fit along the length of the rectangle? How many squares were the length of the rectangle? There's someone tell me in the chat or raise their hand and tell me. Ellie, what was the length? How many squares went across?
4.
Good. Okay, so there were 4 squares. So then the length is 4 centimeters. Okay, how many 1 centimeter squares fit along the width of the rectangles? Sophia F?
2.
So the width of the rectangle is 2 centimeters. Okay, then it says, what does this problem ask you to find? What are we trying to figure out? Who thinks they know? What are we trying to figure out? What's the question asking us? Oh, good job, Jerry. I see you in there. So the problem asks you to find the area of the rectangle. So we want to make sure we use a complete sentence. The area of the rectangle. Okay, next question. You got to think about it a little bit. The unit of measurement for the length and width of the rectangle is centimeters. What is the unit of measurement for the area? So the length and the width were measured in centimeters. What unit of measurement is it that we use for the area? Seeing some friends thinking. Sophia F., you think you know?
Yeah, is it 8?
That's the answer. What's our unit of measurement though? I'll give you a little hint. Think about what we wrote here. Trisha?
Maybe 4 or 2.
Nope, so I'm not looking for a number. Maybe said centimeters here.
A rectangle.
What do we write for the answer for the area?
8.
What do you think, Bentley?
8 square centimeters.
Just the square centimeters part. Okay. Told you that one you had to think a little deeper. All right. I want to hear from some new friends. I'm going to pull up my name generator. Okay, so now we need to complete the equation. So I need number and number and number. How did we write this out? And I'm going to go to, where are you on here? William. All right, William, what are our numbers? What two numbers did we multiply?
4 times 2.
And what did we get as our answer?
8.
Good job. Okay. So then the final answer is, all right, Cameron, how many square centimeters? What was our final answer? Say it again. So what, when we did 4 times 2, what did we get? 4 times 2. So if I count by my 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8. What is it? 8. Good. So 8's our answer. Good job, Cameron. Okay. So then it says, explain how you can use square tiles or multiplication to find the area of a rectangle. So how do we use those things? How do we use square tiles or multiplication to find the area of a rectangle? I want you guys to think about that for a second. Think before I call on someone. How do we use square tiles or multiplication to find the area? So let's see. I want someone to first tell me how we use square tiles. How do square tiles help us find the area? What are you going to do with those square tiles? Ellie, what do you do with the square tiles?
Fill in the area.
And then do what with them?
count them?
Perfect. Yep. So I'm going to make that a little shorter of a sentence for us, but you can place and count square tiles. I'll probably go over here to make sure it fits. To find area. That's one option, right? That's using square tiles. I'm gonna give you a minute to write that. Okay, I know some of you are still writing. Is there someone who wants to tell me how we would use multiplication? What would we multiply to find area? Sophia F.
You will multiply the length and width with.
You can also multiply length times width to find area. I'll give you guys a minute to write